Peter answered and said to him, "Even if all are made to stumble because of you, I will never be made to stumble." Jesus said to him, "Assuredly I say to you, that this night before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." Peter said to him, "Even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you." And so said all the disciples. Faces around the cross. Simon Peter. I love Peter. He's one of those characters in the Bible that is quick to act, and what you see is what you get. Think about this. When Jesus appears to his disciples walking on water, it was Peter who spoke first, daring Jesus to call him on the water. When Jesus was being transfigured, it was Peter who suggested that they build tabernacles, one for Jesus, another for Moses, and another for Elijah. Remember, just before he was called, he had finished the whole night and caught nothing. But at the word of Jesus, he cast out his net one more time. Peter was the one who cut off a man's ear when Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane. Peter had walked with Jesus, and in his mind he was totally sold out, and nothing will persuade him otherwise. The problem was that Peter put his faith in his capabilities. Remember, he was a man of action. So when Jesus talks about the disciples stumble and forsaking him, Peter thinks, "Not me." He even goes on to tell Jesus that others may forsake him, but as for him, he was ready to die with Jesus. To put our trust and faith in our accomplishments or personality, to trust in our own strength, is folly, and it will always lead to a shipwreck. Remember, Jesus told us that apart from him we can do nothing. When the moment of truth comes, Peter, depending on his own strength, tries to defend Jesus by cutting off the ear of a servant. Jesus rebukes Peter and asks him to put his swords away. For those who live by the sword will die by the sword. This was not the way of Jesus. Peter had to learn another way. Can you imagine what Peter felt when the rooster crowed after he had denied Jesus for the 3rd time and Jesus looked at him? That must have broken him. He had done the very thing he had declared to the Lord he would never do. He had failed. He had denied and forsaken the Lord at his hour of need, just as the Lord had predicted. And he wept bitterly. Have you ever looked down at someone because of the kind of sin they committed, thinking that it was beneath you, only for you to do the very same thing you had said you would never do? That was Peter. As believers, we cannot depend on our strength or our experience or resources. We must always depend on the Lord, because without him we can do nothing. I love that Peter was restored, and we see him in the book of Acts taking the lead to preach on the day of Pentecost, this time not depending on his own strength but depending on the Spirit of God. Reflections. What is the one thing you thought you would never do but you ended up doing, and how did that make you feel? In what areas have you been depending on your own strength, qualifications, or experience rather than fully depending on God? How did that turn out? Peter denied Jesus, went back to fishing, but he was restored and became a leader on the Acts church. What lessons can you learn from that? Thank you for your prayers and your support for this morning devotion ministry. This is courtesy of James Okumu, read to you by Anthony Ogutu. May the Lord bless you abundantly.